Hello, and welcome to my Spillway CHIMPS guide with all 3 Tier 5 Mortars and Gwen. This is going to be fun. First, we start off with the generic Spillway start of putting a ninja in the middle. And then, before round 7, you're going to upgrade it to a 001 Seeking Shuriken because that is the only way to beat round 7. Before round 9, get that ninja to a 101 Seeking Shuriken. And now we'll start saving up for Gwen, which we get in the middle of round 12, so see you then. In the middle of round 12, place Gwen as top right as possible in this corner, right over here. And then, whenever you can afford it, upgrade your ninja in the middle to Sharp Shurikens, and you're also going to move Gwen's cocktail point to the middle, right over here. Whenever you can afford it, get caltrops on your ninja, and now we'll save up the 920 needed for double shot. You should be able to afford double shot right at the end of round 18. Now we're going to be AFK until, like, almost round 30, so see you then. So, just whenever, at some point soon, place a village as top right as possible next to Gwen, and then place a mortar right below it, like directly below it. And set the targeting slightly above the center. And now we're going to upgrade this to a 240 artillery battery before round 40. Yeah, so you want to get artillery battery as soon as you can afford it during 39. You need to do this as soon as possible so you can have the ability up for round 40, which you're going to want to use. Because if you don't, you probably die, which would kinda suck. And then, upgrade your village to a 102 for that extra range, and then place another mortar right below your artillery battery. This guy will end up being a Bloon incineration later, but now we're going to upgrade him to a 023 signal flare and set his targeting directly in the middle. Now, get jungle drums on your village, and a 320 alchemist for your artillery battery, and we'll start saving up for Pop and Awe. Yeah, so just place the artillery battery's alchemist right next to it there. And make it 320. Very important. And now we'll start our fairly abilityless save up until Pop and Awe, so I'll see you on round 60. If you'd like to use any abilities here until round 60, feel free to do so. They're not required, but I get it if you feel scared. So, we're back for round 60, as I did say, fairly abilityless. The only ability that is actually required here is to use an artillery battery once the BFB reaches the middle. This should just melt it, and should allow us to afford Pop and Awe right after 61. Pop and Awe got an absolutely massive attack speed buff, and just looks kinda cool, which is why we get it first. And once you've gotten it, set it directly in the middle, because it attacks so fast, the spread doesn't really matter anymore. And now, we're just going to straight up save up for Bloon incineration. So I'll see you when we actually have to do stuff. So, we're back on 69 where we're going to upgrade our signal flare to a shattering shells. Now we really start the save up for Bloon incineration. For the Camo Wave of Ceramics on 78, we're going to want to use a Pop and Awe ability just in case the Shattering Shells doesn't manage to decamo some of the ceramics. For round 80, we're also going to use a Pop and Awe ability once the ZOMG starts to reach the middle. So basically just right now. Pop and Awe is kind of funny and does a lot of damage, so yeah. And now, the save up until Bloon incineration is completely abilityless and AFK. You should be able to afford Bloon incineration in the middle of 83. And once you've gotten it, we're going to set the targeting slightly above the center because that wall of fire, kind of important that it actually hits the Bloons because that's like a lot of its DPS. And then we're going to place an Alchemist right over here in the discount range and upgrade it to 320. Now we're basically just going to hope that it's in the Bloon incineration, or that it prioritizes the Bloon incineration because it benefits a ton from the Alch buff and is basically required to beat this run. And now we're going to start getting the worst Tier 5 Mortar, the biggest one. We're going to want to place a 402 Mortar in the range of the discount village, preferably over here so we have space for a Spike Storm later on, for around 100. So, from 87 onward, whenever there are ZOMGs on a round, you're going to want to use the Pop and Awe ability once they reach the middle. It's just, it helps, okay? It also kind of stat pads Pop and Awe so we can get it to 1 million pops, because I guess that would be cool. And yeah, after 87 you should afford the big one, so now we'll start saving up for the biggest one. So yeah, as I said last round, whenever there are ZOMGs, use a Pop and Awe ability when they reach the middle. On 92, use that Pop and Awe ability. Helps out a ton here. On 94, also use that Pop and Awe ability. As I said earlier, when the ZOMGs reach the middle. And 95 is kind of cool. We can just watch the DDTs get absolutely melted by our Mortar duo and soon-to-be trio. Oh yeah, Gwen was also here. Gwen barely does anything this run. I had a different version of this run I was going to do originally before Pop and Awe got buffed, where we got Bloon incineration first, but and Gwen actually did something then, but now Gwen doesn't do anything because we can get Pop and Awe before 63 and it actually does something. When previously Pop and Awe was basically just there. Yeah, and then for 96, use that Pop and Awe ability. Bloon incineration absolutely melts right now. It is crazy. I don't get why it's so good. Oh yeah, and we're also going to want to use that Pop and Awe ability off cooldown on 97, because, yes, just do that. It helps, and we don't actually need it for 98, which is surprising. And now, before 98, you should have afforded the biggest one, or the worst Tier 5 Mortar. Yeah, anyways, just watch 98 get absolutely melted with this setup. Our Mortar trio goes kind of crazy. And then, before 99, place a Spike Factory right over here and upgrade it to a 140 Spike Storm. And then, before around 100, you're also going to want to give it its own 320 Alchemist, because you should still be able to afford that. In the discount range, of course. And because Spike Storm got buffed this update and we want to abuse that as much as possible, use a Firestorm and Spike Storm the instant the bad reaches the middle. For some reason it does 17k damage, and I think that's absurd. And then, yeah, just use a Pop and Awe ability once everything pops. Or once the bad pops, but yeah. And boom! You should now have your Spillway Black Border with an incredible strategy of all Tier 5 Mortars. I hope this guide helped you out. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.